And it just really annoys me because like copying the vibe of a person's brand is just so trash. A lot of ladies are taking these classes but really can't work in a salon because they do not have the proper licensing to do so. Whew. Welcome back to my channel. Today I have a lash question and answer for you. I'll be answering questions that people leave under my lash videos. I'll be dropping a very beneficial resource for my lash technicians as well as my aspiring lash techs in this video. So make sure to watch all the way through. Just go ahead and start the video right here so we can get on to it. First question from Nikki Galvez. Where did you get certified? How long have you been lashing? They look amazing. Thank you, Nikki. Well, I got certified in Chicago, Illinois, and I've been lashing since 2017. Next question. Jada Allen. What did you search up to get a lash room? I'm searching on Kijiji, but I'm getting shared office boardrooms. Well, I'm not too familiar with what Kijiji is, but when I was looking for lash space, I wanted a lash suite, specifically like a private suite. So I just went onto Google and searched up office space for rent, and like so many buildings within my area popped up. You want to make sure when you're getting your suite that it is somewhere local to you, and you also want to make sure that the area that is in is the area many people will drive past, meaning more clients. Kiana A. Could you do a video talking about how you got started being a lash technician? I will for sure definitely do a video talking about this. Amy A. Do you make the client sign the consent form if they are a returning customer or just the first time? So on my old consent forms, I only had the client sign the form once. It was a portion on the consent form that I was using that stated that the form would be active for the current as well as all future appointments. So excuse me, I'm sorry. I only had my client sign the consent form once because it wasn't needed. But that brings me to my very special resource. I have made my very own eyelash extension consent form. And it has a front page and a back page. I'm super duper excited about it because I took my very sweet time on this to make sure that it provided my lash technicians with resources that eyelash consent forms usually don't. You can look at this consent form as like a 3-in-1 consent form because you have the client information portion, which is right here. You have the consent portion, which is right here. You have the liability and medical portion, which is right here. And then on the bottom, you have the agreement, and then you have a place for both the technician and the client to sign and date. A lot of businesses that provide services specifically usually have some type of loyalty program going on, whether it's a loyalty card, meaning if you come to them so many times, then you get a reward on your 5th or 6th time for coming to them just for being a loyal client. And this portion is a way for you to keep track of that. And if you don't want to do anything like that, then you can use this section for whatever you please. And then I put a note section right here for you to go ahead and keep any updates on your client. And then at the bottom you have a lash map to make sure that you're giving that client a consistent look every time they come. This is a very resourceful consent form. I like to call it a 3-in-1 consent form, and you can find it officially on my website at www.lashwayboulevard.com. So yeah, consent forms were like a very consistent question that I always get asked, and I was so surprised because I thought all lash technicians use consent forms, but it's really so many people out there that didn't know about them. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to leave them in my comment section, or you can send me an email at janaehauser@ymail.com. Okay, back to the video. Tiara Reen or Renee. I hope I'm not butchering y'all's names. I'm sorry if I am. Did you have to purchase your consent form? The consent forms that I was using previous to the consent forms that I just made, yes, I did. Next question. Tiara Shanae, where did you get the gold and white rolling cart? I got that cart from Ross. I'm assuming that you're talking about the cart in my video and my lash suite. Did you share where you get your consent forms from? From I Am Fancy Jador. Yep, before I was getting my consent forms from Google, and now you can get an updated and improved consent form from my official website, www.lashwayboulevard.com. Hayden Peebles, I would love to see a video on how you made your website, if you require deposits for your appointments, how people pay for their appointments, if you use an app for that, and whatnot. Love the videos, keep them up. Thank you, Hayden girl. Okay, so I'm gonna have to break this question down into like 3 to 4 parts. first, I would love to see how you did a video on how you made your website. That is so funny because I'm like super simple. As far as like animations and just like all that extra stuff, I don't really do that. But I definitely can create a video on how you can make a profitable website. Next part of her question, if you require deposits for your appointments. I definitely require deposits for my appointments. When I first started out, I wasn't, because I didn't have an official website, and that was just like the craziest time ever because people would contact me to book an appointment and then like literally not show up. How people pay for their appointments. So in order to book an appointment, they'll have to go to my website and pay their deposit through my website. That pretty much answers your last question where you asked if you use an app for that or whatnot. So yeah, every time somebody books an appointment, it comes straight to my phone. So every time a person books an appointment, it comes straight to my phone. Every time a person even just visits my website, it'll come straight to my phone. Next question. Beat by D. Would it be better to take just the lash class or actually go to school for it? So this is another constant question that I get about lashing. The answer is that it really depends on your state's requirements. Not every state requires a license to lash, but most do. So I would definitely suggest that if you plan on lashing, to go ahead and get your esthetician's or cosmetology license, whichever one your state prefers. Some prefer either or, some prefer a specific one out of the two, so make sure to do that research as well. And yeah. Whew. I be talking. Back to questions. Shanta Slay. So my thing is, a lot of ladies are taking these classes but really can't work in a salon because they do not have the proper licensing to do so. How can we get around that besides working in home as a lash tech? Whew. Well, unless you're in a state that doesn't require a license, there really is no way to get around that unless you just manage getting around that. But like honestly, even that isn't too safe because you never know what client you'll come across. If you want to work in a salon, I would just say you gotta go get that license if it's required. Say for instance, you're working in a salon and the craft that you're providing requires a license but you don't have one. Well, public health comes and inspects these salons with no warning whatsoever. So say you've been working at the salon for about 4 months and everything's going fine, you know, you're running in the bag, making your money, your customer service is great, even you're just doing a very good job. And then one day the salon gets a knock on the door and public health is here. For all of you that don't know what public health is, they're basically professionals that come to inspect companies to make sure that they're abiding by the laws. So making sure they're up on sanitization practices, making sure their customer service is superb. So say for instance, public health comes and you don't have your license, now that salon is getting tagged. So that's why a lot of salon owners are really strict on that because they'll have to pay the consequences for allowing people to do whatever craft it is that they're doing without a license. Now, if you are lashing at home and you don't have a license and you're in a state that requires you to have a license, I would just say to just never get too comfortable with that because you don't know what type of clients that you may get sometimes. My best advice for that would be to enroll in a program so that you can get the proper licensing and at least be working toward it. I hope that helps. Elise Lachey, love it. Yes, please do a detailed lash video. Also, can you do a video on building your clientele and investing in your own space? First, Haley's girl. I started doing lashes in 2017, and although lashing, like lash extensions, has been around for a while, it didn't really get mainstreamed until 2015, 2016. So when I brought it to my campus in 2017, it was still relatively new to people. And at that point, I was the only lash extension artist on the campus, so I was pretty much having the whole female student body that were interested in lash extension. But after college, I moved back home and it was a completely different experience. I moved back home to Illinois and, you know, it was way more lash artists out there and way more competition. So I had to literally rebuild my business from the ground up, aside from the people that were still coming to me that came back home from school as well. I can honestly say that today I don't have the biggest clientele ever at all. Like I honestly have a solid 10 to 15 clients that rotate consistently. Like you don't need to have a humongous clientele of like 50 or more clients unless that's what you want, but having like a consistent 10 to 15 that just rotates around could bring in a pretty decent chunk of money. So Yeah. Next question. Curvylicious me. Love the content and lashing videos. Yes, yes, yes to a detailed video. Would love to know where you get your forms from. Okay, I now have my own consent forms, which I just mentioned. You can find them at www.lashingboulevard.com. Jakayla B. Love this video. Do you have to be licensed in Illinois in order to become a lash tech? Thanks in advance. Thank you, Jakayla girl. And yes, you do have to be licensed in Illinois. Princess Loretta. Hey girl, I came across your page via Instagram and just watched your YouTube channel on the day in the life of a lash tech and was so inspired. I've recently just started doing lashes and wanted to ask what's the best tips for isolation. Thanks, Princess. First, congratulations on becoming a lash technician and much success on your journey. But as far as isolation, the best advice that I would give on isolation is to make sure that you're allowing the lash the proper time to dry, especially if you do not have a quick drying glue. Next question. And this question came to my email, so I'm not gonna like say her name because I don't want to put her email out there. But she said, how do I avoid being copied? And this question is kind of a tricky question because it's like kind of vague. I'll just separate it into two categories because that'll be easier for me to answer the question. I'm gonna answer it in terms of a person copying the actual craft of lashing, like maybe your style, and then a person copying your actual brand. As far as someone copying like your actual lash style, like say for instance if you specialize in wispy lashes and then you see somebody who close to you or that you know now specializing in wispy lashes or whatever, I feel like that's kind of inevitable because like I mentioned, lashing has been here for a while, but it just became mainstream within like 2015 and 16. So there are lash technicians really still like up in their knowledge, continuing to expand their craft, learning new things, trying new styles. As a lash technician, there's times when my clients will come in and they'll show me a picture. They'll be like, hey, can you do my lashes like this? As a lash technician, I want to be able to deliver. I want to be able to provide multiple styles so that I can have a diverse clientele. And I think that's okay. You know, you yourself may get inspired by another lash technician and their style and then try to like play off of that and add more to it or whatever. I think it's just a part of evolution. And I would more so look at it in a positive way as like just being like a big family of lash technicians all learning from each other, learning the pros, learning the cons, and just trying to progress their business the best that they can. So yeah, I don't want to say necessarily not to feel any type of way about it because you have every right to feel however you feel, but I would try to look on it as a positive aspect as well because you never know when you may get inspired by someone else. Now, looking at it from a different aspect, if you're saying like a person literally copying your brands, that's a whole different story. And by copying your brand, I literally mean like a person copying your whole vibe that you just put your hard-earned work into. It can be a person basically like taking credit for the work that you've put out, trying to make it their own, or like using a similar name, if not the same name as you, and the things that they do. Stealing your branded posts, stealing your ideas that you've already put out into the world and making it theirs. Things like that. And like the best advice that I could give for that, honestly, girl, is just to protect your business. People are really bold out here and they have no regard whatsoever for the hard work that these business owners put into their businesses. The best thing that I would say to do is just to make sure that you have all your legal documents in order, meaning that you have your LLC, your trademark, copyright your materials, whatever you need to do to make sure you can avoid this as best as possible. Like copying the vibe of a person's brand is just so trash. Nobody wants to be copied, and it happens so much and it's so unfortunate. But the best thing that I can say is just to keep moving forward, get your legal documents in order. You'll always be 2 steps ahead. So next, love the lash content. Would like for you to post more consistently because I'm an aspiring lash tech. Thank you. I'm so happy you enjoy my content. And yes, I'm really going to work on posting consistently. I've actually been creating things in the lab because I have another very beneficial resource coming out. It's just going to take a little bit of time because this one is kind of big. But yes, girl, I really enjoy doing these videos and I would definitely try to work on getting a more consistent schedule. Okay, well, that's all the questions. So I hope this video was very informative. And if you have any more questions, then don't hesitate to get into the comment section and ask. Also, don't forget to get your consent forms, again, from www.lashingboulevard.com. They're on sale for 5% off right now. You can get them for $10. So make sure to go check that out and protect your business. If you're lashing, you should definitely be lashing with consent forms. So yeah, that's all I have for you today. If you enjoyed this video, then go ahead and give a thumbs up. Also turn on your post notifications so that you don't miss a beat. But yes, until then, see you next time. Mwah.